Alright, welcome. In this video I'm going to try to show you some principles that are applied to drawing a helix ramp, or not drawing it, but laying out a helix ramp. So I'm going to draw some examples. It'd be nice if I could show you in the field, but I'm not doing any helixes now and may not be doing them for quite a while. So let's start with drawing a circle. O, insert, point relative 15, tab 15, enter. I don't think that did it. Point relative 15, enter, and then point relative tab 15, or just one even. So that should have 0 height. And then I'm going to do a Control C, Control V, enter, and then Control I, and I'm going to do 30. So we have a 30-foot, 15-foot diameter inside radius, and a 30-foot, so about 15 feet in between there. That's kind of typical for a helix. Let's do 0 thickness lines, and this is 0 thickness because we're going to just lay out some control. So typically in there you're going to have H right there, enter. Let's move this a little bit. That's our plan of the helix. So I'm going to take this, enter, and I'm going to make some grid lines. Let's say the grid is draw circular array. Number of copies, I'll do 4 bays, so 5, 180, 0, offset, y-axis, that should do it, Control R. So we have Alt MA, just check to make sure, looks like 45 degrees, yeah, 45 degrees, all right, so let's say that's our control, and we're gonna have some columns here. Let's get some heavier lines, H, and we're gonna change it to, let's go blue, H, and enter, Control C, V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Alright, that's kind of what the location of those columns are going to be. It's getting a little messy, so I'm going to just go all the way back here. Let's draw the helix. So V, really we're looking for, this is our ramp. And typically going to have like a transition, like a 10% slope or 5% slope for 10 feet, and then 10% slope. And then you'll get into the slope of the helix. That's not what this is about. I'm going to just draw this helix. So let's put this, enter, Control H, put a handle on it, enter there. And then we're going to just draw the sweep. Sweep will turn it into a solid. Circular array will just array that line. So they're going to do sweep. And number of copies, let's go about 10, 20, 30, 40. And number of copies, 40. And I wonder if it should be 41, 15, enter, radius 1. Yeah, so that's just going to be array that. And let's look at this. Open up a window and look at the plan. Make sure we get the right amount of. Let's see, design CAD tile. Plan, let's look at that. Zoom. And we just want to make sure that this line is 45 degrees, is lining up with those, which is kind of interesting. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each one of these is like 4.5. I think it's anyways, they're lining up. That's important. So, because that's where we're going to put our columns. And let's spin this around a little bit so we can see. Oh yeah, because the 40 divided 10 into each one, so that's why. H, zoom in, and it's going to land right on that one. There's our column. So what's happening is on grid lines, they're going to give you elevations. So let's just say this elevation is provided, this one is provided, and same thing over here. All right, and one more. All right, so let's lighten this up. Apply. And let's get rid of the heavy lines. Apply. All right. So let's open this up to a bigger picture. All right. So now, it's interesting. Does that look like it even hit the right spot? No. All right. So we've got our grid, we've got the location. So on a helix, let's say this is a solid wall. I hate when that does that. There's a solid wall here, so you're limited on access. So let's draw that wall. I guess we could. Let's go V, H, enter, Control H, enter, sweep. Actually, let's do. Be hard to. We're just going to assume that there's a wall on the inside too. Draw, sweep. And there you go. I wonder why that. Oh, because there's Control Z, F. All right, Control H, enter, sweep. But we do not want to 15-foot elevation. 0, enter. All right. So let's move a better view of that. So that's an exterior wall. It's let's say it's the perimeter of the building, and you're underground. You're coming up out of the slab on grade, and you're gonna need to snap this line. But there's that's like I don't know how many feet is that? 15 feet in between grid lines. 21 feet in between grid lines. You can't just snap a line from here to here. Snap it to the line where V, enter. Draw. So here's the thing, what's going on with this. Control K. Right, it's a 2.5 or 2'3" away from the wall. So to get this to the wall, what you're going to do is you're going to go, let's turn this a little more. So I hope it's not too busy. We're going to take this line, put a nail there on grid at elevation, which we have. You're going to pull it over here, put it on elevation where you have it. And then you're going to find the center of this along the wall. So you're going to go like, I don't know, it looks like it'd be out here. You can't see anything, right? So maybe the way you kind of do it, let's draw an arc here. Maybe I could set this on the wall. Specify the radius. Let's go 12 feet, enter. Well, you already know it's 21 feet diagonal, so that's pretty close. I would go 11. I would go 11. Let's go 11. So K. Oh, what's that happen? F3. Radius. So that's an 11-foot radius, and then it go F3. And you're going to have this, I can't show it on the thing, but you basically figure out 12 feet, measure, get a mark on the wall, come from the other side, mark 12 feet, get a mark on the wall, then just split the difference with your tape. But let's say it's 7 inches, you go 3.5 inches, it'd be the center, and that's your center. That's what we're looking for. And now you have your level, and you put it on that mark. Let's say, let's do this. I can't do that. It has to be V, Control K. I have to locate it. So here's the deal. Even in drawing, I don't know where the center of this arc is between this column and this column. But the principle that shows up is sort of some sort of, like you could call it, helix postulate or a helix theorem is something basic that happens on a helix. Is if you hit V and you go to the center of this line, let me darken this line up, put it in heavy line. It's awfully heavy, isn't it? Let's go to line type. We're going to go 30. Okay, and we'll change the color to red. So we're going to snap the line. We're going to draw our line from that point to that point. Or did that come out gray? And enable fixed line weight. I didn't do that one either. Line 30, enter, apply. All right, and it's still gray. What the heck is that? It's not gray, it's red. Why does that look gray? Maybe it's underneath. No, some of it's going to be above. Wow, I don't understand that. Fixed line weight. How about we go 1 millimeter? Or one. That is actually very bizarre. Okay. Oh, because it's overlapping this line. Delete V, enter. So we have a nice red line there. So that's our, and that's way too big, right? We wanted to go 30. All right, so we have that line. We've nailed it here. So we got a string line that's going directly from point to point, grid to grid, elevation to elevation, right? So I want to locate where the center, let's say, because I can't see these lines here. Right, let's just go ahead and delete all that, right? Control C, Z, let's move it so we can overlay it later. Control C, V, enter. Let's just delete that now, right? Okay, perfect. So now what I have is I can do the same thing here. I can go from here to here, enter. And the principle that's happening here is I've got my mark. I've just kind of roughly measured and found the center. And I'm having difficulty. I'm going to do that on the. It's kind of hard. Anyways, I can find the center of the line on the computer really easy. So I'm going to go V, Control K, and then from here to here, Control K, enter. All right, and then I can extend this out to that line there. I won't trim because it's not line. So. I need to extend it. Let's just extend it. And you'll see if we go to shade, apply, you'll see where that pierces through the wall. We could run that, and that would be easy to follow. It would be pretty easy in the field to measure the if you're measuring from here to here, get a pretty good center. And it'll be very close to the center. If you're at, what happens sometimes you're on sloped ground, the ground's not level, but you could pretty much find the thing here by just swinging 2 arcs. If this was flat ground, you could swing 2 arcs, and the center of that would give you the center of those 2 arcs would give you the middle, and that would line up right with this spot. So if you had your tape down here and you went right down on the bottom, let's see. Okay, right, you'd end up with it. That dimension is going to be the same on both sides, right? So if you went 11 feet and you're 11 feet, you'd have a small gap that you can just pick the center from. All right. So my point is, what's happening here is the center of this line, only in the middle, the center of this line will intersect the right elevation. So that line here becomes something like this. H F4. I should be able to get an intersection there, right, if I trim it. So let's try that. E H, that should trim out. Yeah, it did. Weird how sometimes it just cuts the line. So that's when you know it's exactly, and then that way it'll trim to there, right? And we located that point by going to the middle of the line, not how you would do it in the field necessarily, but that is, so if we went anywhere along this line to do the same thing, it would not work because, let's put the helix back and I'll show you. So this will be, let's just show you. And we'll shade it so you can see this part will be exposed, this part will be hidden. Let's go to solid, OpenGL, hidden line, sure. So you can see it's above here and below here. Like it has sort of a contour go along the straight line, but it actually intersects that plane, this helicoidal plane, at the center, right here, only at that point. So it's kind of like a misnomer that it's showing oh, because I've got it on shaded lines. Let's do this. Hidden line, no hidden lines. Normals. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it in that one either. OpenGL. Hidden lines, shading, hidden line, mix. Hidden lines, right? Tire, and I don't want display line, no. And it's not showing you that either. How about if we take it and move it a little bit? That's not showing it at all. Alright, well, that's the way it works. So only if we went right here, V, Control K, V, Control K. Only at that point is it going to be visible and invisible at the same time. You know, what the hell is it doing there? Split intersecting lines with graphic acceleration. Okay. Shit. All right, so that's how it works. That only the center is in the plane of this line. So if you're going from point to point, and the point to point, the center point of each one, the line that cuts across those two is in the plane 100% across, right? So you can't really do that anywhere else because this line is above and this part of the line is below. The helix has an S shape, you know, because it's curving up, continuously curving up. So at some point it crosses this line right there. So this part you'd be able to see the line above the deck, and this part it would be buried below the deck. Alright, so now after you've done that and you've got this location on the wall, take this string, snap it and put it there. So now you've got a line on this line and a line on, and then put another nail there or have somebody hold it in the middle. And you could probably snap this out. If we went right here, Control K to the wall right there, let's say in line, you're looking at 6-7 inches, probably doable. You know, if it's a ramp for cars. If you wanted to get it closer, let's do this. All right, now we've got that point on the wall. Actually, so here's the way, this is how you do it on the outside of the wall, right? And then we do the same thing, V, Control K, enter, and then you would do the same thing. You'd have trim that out to the, you know what I can do is I can turn that into a line. V here, here, and then I can trim it out to that. All right. Delete. So now we found the end of there, so that we just do it one more time, and then you have very little. That would be just snap that. As long as you hold it level and snap it, you won't get too much of a double line. If you pull it out and you come uphill a little bit and snap it, you're going to get a real bad, wicked double line. So in this case, that's the distance I would probably choose. It looks like about 6 feet. Yep. So that's 6 feet across, and then the distance between here and here, Control Z, F4. F4. 5 inches. No, we moved it, right? Decided that's a good one. There you go. That's about 6 feet. And then Control K. Distance. Okay. Now you're only about 2 inches, inch and a half away. That's snappable. On the inside, how you do would be Control. Let's do this back to there, right? So you can't run a line through that. Let's say this had a wall on it. Let's get rid of this wall and do a wall here. Enter. Turn it into a gray line. Control H, put a handle on it, enter. Draw, sweep, 40, 180, 0. So now let's move this around over here. Zoom, and let's go over here now. You can see that this line is Control R. This line here is in behind the wall, right? So we can see this line is behind the wall, right? Obviously it's back there, right? You can't snap that through the wall. So what you do is, let's zoom in here, get rid of this. Now you have this column and this column, so what you do is you pin a nail there, let's say, and then here you would use the ground. Let's do it the other way. So V, H, K, enter, and let's turn this into a purple, apply, and we want the length to be 4 feet, enter. So let's see, right here you can take your line V, your string line, pin it here, and then you come up here and hit it here, right? And you can take it and sweep it across that 4 foot level, and what'll happen is it'll hit these points as you sweep it. Right, and you'll actually get a really good helix line on that wall, because as you sweep it across there, if it's concrete or something that's not too slippery, and you're very careful that the friction of the line will hold it. If it's too slick, let's say it's something that's too slick, like on a HDO, face of an HDO or something that's too slick, as you sweep it over, you're going to have somebody do it with a snap line, and have them, as you get about 2 feet, he's going to pinch it and snap the little section 2 or 3 feet at a time, and then you'll end up with a good line. So that's how you go about that. That's how you snap a line on the inside of a wall on a helix. Well, I hope that helps. Some principles that I've learned and wanted to share them with somebody else that's interested in doing some layout. And good luck. Thanks for watching.